There we go. It doesn't normally take me that long to find the record button, but here we are today for the weekly Wednesday workshop. And I was saying just beforehand there was 52 workshops written, and we're on week 45, which is amazing. It also means Christmas is really close now, and it also means I've possibly got to think of another 52 workshops. Or I might just start from the beginning again. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. We'll see. So today I want to look a little bit at, it's actually a term that in some ways I like, and in some ways a kind of I don't know, maybe there's a better way for it, but a growth mindset. And I think when I think growth mindset, I'm torn between the idea of our own personal growth and development, and but also you quite often hear growth mindsets associated with business and making lots and lots of money and that side of it. And it kind of as a term sits, I sit kind of in a place of kind of sometimes out of balance with it. Um, but the growth mindset, I mean, if you've been following I Meditate for any length of time and you've been taking on board the stuff that we talk about, the way we talk about it, the whole thing is about having that growth mindset, that very simple attitude of, I'm not there yet, or I'm not there yet, but there's stuff I can learn that will get me there, or there's this problem. I can't see a way around it yet. Coming back to our use of language. Um, and a growth mindset, the difference between a growth mindset and non-growth mindset is I've got a problem. I've got a problem. I've got a problem. Whereas the growth mindset is got a challenge. How am I going to get around this? And there's a lot being said about positive psychology at the moment. And don't get me wrong, I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing we're taught to think more positively. It makes sense if we teach ourselves to think more positively about life, then the challenges we face, in theory, there's still going to be challenges, but how we relate to them is going to be better. However, I do think that sometimes that positive can go too far when it just becomes rose tinted. That positive minds, everything's lovely, everything's lovely. Oh, look, the world's ending. Oh, it's so lovely. It's not healthy. Oh, there's a bus coming. Oh, it's not. There's a difference, and I think a growth mindset is healthier than a super amazing, because a positive mindset also is a mindset that can trap you and keep you from growing. If everything's just lovely, then there's nothing to do, which is a great way of avoiding doing things. So a growth mindset is a mindset that's open to challenges. It's a grant mountain mindset that looks at the experiences we've had and goes, okay, what have I learned? What can I take from that that improves my life now, helps me become a better person than I have been? The simplest analogy, I mean, I think I've used this before actually. Might not have been too long back. As human beings, yeah, I think we did. Um, as human beings, we have this innate, as living beings, as something that is alive, we have within us a calling to grow, a calling to become that little bit more than we were. If you see an acorn, put that in the ground, you get the huge oak tree because there is that something that is fundamental to life calls it to grow. And again, if you're part of I Meditate, the likelihood is that part of what's brought you to I Meditate is that mindset of I want to learn stuff. I want to be able to deal with my life in better ways. I want to be able to learn how to relax, learn how to make the best of opportunities, and all that stuff that we've covered over the last 45 weeks. It's all about a growth mindset. And you can have that mindset no matter what situation you're in life. You look at very driven people. I mentioned business and that, and people that are driven by business and money and accumulation. That's a kind of a growth mindset. Um, Tend to talk about growing businesses, growing income streams. Again, it's all growth. But for us with I Meditate, it's about how we grow and about having that mindset that allows us or gives us, if you think about, excuse me, if you think about um, things like farming, gardening, if you prepare the seed bed, if you create the right situation for it to grow, then it will do. Cole Rogers used to use, and I know I've used this example before. Um, the example, Cole Rogers, by the way, is a 1940s, 50s, 60s counselor, therapist, psychotherapist, in fact, who pioneered the whole person-centered counseling approach. One of my favorite people. I've got his picture up here somewhere, so you can't see it. There's no point. I don't even know why I'm pointing to it, but it's up there. Um, and in fact, I'll swap it over at some point. And we'll have somebody else behind me in a bit. Um, he had this moment where he went down into his cellar, and I know I've shared this with you before, but he went down into his cellar, and in the corner of the cellar, under a very little window, was a bag of seed potatoes. And those seed potatoes, even though there was no light, there was no soil, they were they were twisted, they were withered, they were very pale and sickly looking, but they still were trying to grow and fulfill that potential. And a growth mindset helps us fulfill that potential, and we can try and create for ourselves with how we think about life the best situations, the best way for us to grow. Part of that is in our conversation, we've talked about negative self-talk in the past, and we can look at how we're talking to ourselves, look at, when we're having that inner dialogue, is that inner dialogue supporting us? Is it kind of going, okay, let's do this, let's go there, let's make that happen? Um, or is it the kind of inner dialogue just going, well, you can't do that really, can you? No, you can't. You're not going to be very, I'm not going to be very good at that. I'll be useless at that. People like me don't really get to do that. That's not a growth mindset. That's fear speaking more than anything else. Um, and I've always had, I know I was having this conversation the other day about all the different things that I've done and the opportunities and things that I've done in life. And that came about because I decided that if an opportunity came up that would give me an experience, as long as that wasn't detrimental to people, I don't want to be causing detriment to people, then I would take it. That's why I ended up running a pub. That's why I ended up. That's why I ended up being a magician, actually, and performing for 20 years, is because an opportunity turned up. I helped some friends who were professional storytellers learn. They were part of a Harry Potter theme tour, and run by a big American tour company. And every year they went to storytellers, but they never had any magicians, which, if you think about Harry Potter, is quite a weird thing not to have any magic. And they came round one evening with a bottle of wine and a plastic bag that had seen better days with a box in it. And they were like, someone told us you do magic for a hobby. Well, I didn't say a hobby. Someone said you do magic and you're quite good at it. So we're wondering, we're doing this Harry Potter thing. We want to introduce some magic to it. No one ever does any. And we found a magic set in a charity shop, hence the tatty plastic bag. Could you, if we shared some of this nice wine with you, would you be happy to give away some of the magician's secrets? And I mean, that was, yeah, why not? I mean, it was a kid's magic set. It wasn't like I was giving away the inner mysteries or anything like that. So we had a lovely evening, and I shared with them and showed them some of the stuff that I was playing around with. And literally, it was playing around for me at that time. It was a hobby, always had been on and off. And we had a good night. They went away. They did the tour again that year, did their little bits of magic, which, people liked. And then I get a call shortly after from them going, Rob, be prepared. You're going to get a call from the America sometime between now and February. And sure enough, I did. And a lovely lady called Jeannie got in touch and was like, Rob, I've been told that you're a wonderful magician. Okay, it's just a hobby, but I didn't say that at the time. And and we're wondering, we do this Harry Potter theme tour. Would you like to come and spend 5 days traveling around the Highlands of Scotland, entertaining along the way, stopping in 4 and 5 star hotels? You're fed, you're wined, you're dined, all your transport, everything's covered. We're going to pay you quite a lot of money each day, not just for the 5 days in total, but each day to come and do this. Now, I'd been doing music by that point, but I had never in my life done a magic gig. I'd shown friends, down the pub, show us a card trick, Rob, that kind of stuff. Never done a magic gig. And at that point, a non-growth mindset would have gone, well, if you're not a professional, you don't know what you're doing. Um, it's, why do you think you can pull this off? And all those doubts and fears, that's what usually follows a non-growth mindset, doubts and fears. If I'd had that, I probably wouldn't even be sat here doing this now because I would never have gone down the routes and the paths that I went. However, when they said, would you like to do it? I was like, yeah, why not? Because there was no reason why not. So what? I may never have done a professional magic gig in my life, but I know I can do magic. I know I can perform that to people. How hard could it be? And that was that, but that's a growth mindset. So it's like in the back of my head, I was saying, yeah, yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, yeah, no, I'll fine. Let me just keep me posted. Let me know the arrangements and we'll do it. In the back of my head, I'm going, oh my life, I don't know how to do this yet. And so in the time I had between them booking me, I literally had to research how to put together a magic act. How to, I mean, I already had an idea of performance because I'd done performance with music and theatre stuff when I was younger. So that that was okay with that bit. But I had to learn about, creating a routine that flows. I had some of it was just some of it was literally just being in a place and doing almost like I would if I was with friends in a pub. So I already knew how to do that kind of stuff when you just fill in time for them. But there were certain points throughout the 5 days where I had to do set shows. And so I had to learn from scratch in a couple of months how to do set shows. Now, if you have a non-growth mindset, you're not going down that path. If I'd had a non-growth mindset, I'd have still been sat at my table recording the occasional card magic video and stuff. But with a growth mindset, it's a case of, yeah, okay, don't know how to do that yet, but I can learn. And especially nowadays, it's so much easier nowadays to learn stuff. I remember my very first mentor, um, John Chase, when I went down and spent time with him learning hypnosis and coaching and all that. And he was talking about what it takes to be an expert. And I can't remember the exact figures, but he turned around and basically said, most people, maybe if they've got a hobby or something, will will spend on average in their lifetime anything from, if you add the hours up, from about half a week to a week actually learning about it. They'll do stuff, they'll practice, but the actual real studying and learning will tend to be. He said, if you study something solid for 28 days, reading about it, having a go, practicing, he said, technically, you know more than about 80% of the population about that thing, which then makes you somebody who can be perceived to be an expert. And with the internet, with YouTube and everything else now, it's so easy to learn, to get an idea. I mean, when we first moved in here, one of the guys came in to fix a radiator. He was watching how to do it on YouTube. He's getting like £80 an hour for being a electrician and coming out, but he's literally right. YouTube says this, and so a growth mindset is that mindset that helps you and encourages you to go and achieve whatever you want to achieve. And sometimes, the big dreams aren't going to be achievable. But it's better to spend a life working towards them than never going there, because that journey is going to be an experience. So when it comes to a growth mindset, watch what you're telling yourself, watch what you're saying to yourself. If an opportunity comes up and you're going, oh no, I'm not going to be any good. Why do I think I can do this? Blah, blah, blah. I have no experience. That's not growth. Stop yourself. Do the stop and just literally pick yourself up and go, well, no, I don't know how to do that yet. And we all know how I stand on the word try. Don't say I'm going to try to do this thing, because you already decided you're going to fail. Whereas if you go, I don't know how to do it yet, you're implying that you're going to learn how to, and you can, whatever it is. Or, you know, when I took on the pub, I had 8 hours bar experience, and I had never seen the inside of a pub cellar. But I took on a pub because the idea was, well, I don't know how to do it yet, but someone's going to show me, so I can do this. So having that growth mindset, that open mindset is actually probably, I think, a better way of saying it. Open to the possibility that you can do things, you can achieve things. There's always going to be challenges, but you can find your way around those challenges. If they're problems, you're already kind of owning them and going, this is a problem. And with problems, we go, this is the problem. This is the problem. And we keep going over and over and over the problem until we really know, we've practiced really well how to have our problem. Whether it's a problem in how we're thinking about something, whether it's a problem with something we're doing. Whereas, and that's a closed mindset. Whereas you see it as a challenge, something to get around, something to overcome. I'm not there yet. It just, even when you think about it and talk about it, feels better. And we all have things we're dealing with. We all have challenges. I know I've got a lot of stuff on my head at the moment. It's not bad stuff, but it's kind of, there's a lot of weight behind it. It's big choice stuff. It's quite amazing, really. Um, and I don't know whether I can do that yet. I don't know if I can make that choice yet, or if I make that choice, even whether I'll get there yet. But the moment I say yet, I'm allowing that path to be an open thing for me. So, you'd love to ditch the day job and take up some sort of a therapy work or whatever, rather than just going, I can't do that, or I can't do that because of this, this, and this. Just can't do it yet. Makes a whole lot of difference to how you start thinking about it. Fabulous. So the next thing is with that, and I always find if I do get stuck, and if we do get stuck, and I can only talk from my own experience, which is why I'm saying I a lot. Um, so we have this open mindedness, we have this I can't do that yet, but then we are potentially still going to hit up against uh, maybe a fear within that, some sort of worry within it. And I find that one of the greatest questions you can ask yourself, and you might have to ask it more than once. You might have to keep asking yourself, And by asking, I don't mean kind of going, oh, I wonder, blah, 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 and then immediately finding the answer. Because that's a logical process. That's not necessarily going to be the right answer. When it comes to those fears or worries that are holding you back from that growth, from becoming something, to having an experience that you never imagined you could have, to being somebody more than you thought you could be, if you're still feeling stuck, if that kind of being open to it, but there's still resistance, a very simple question to ask yourself is, what if I never do this? What if I never do this? And again, like I said, there's stuff that I'm ruminating over at the moment where that comes up. When I hit that wall of, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. What if I never did this? What if I never do this? If you'd really like to start creating stuff or learning stuff, but something's holding you back, what if you never did it? What if in hopefully many, many years' time, you suddenly look back and go, I wish I'd done that. Wish I'd done that. Because potentially then it might be too late. And something you wanted to do. I mean, we don't always have to know our minds. Something just has to interest us. Something where we go, quite fancy that. I've never seen that before. I wonder how you do that. You know, I don't know. For some reason, basket weaving popped into my head. I think it's because I've always quite fancied to go, so it's probably why. A little bit of it kind of it would bore me silly after a while, I'm pretty sure. But I've always quite fancied to go at seeing how that would turn out. What if I never do that? What if I never give it a go? Well, one, I'm never going to know if it's a thing. I mean, ironically, I don't think with my known craft skill, I'm ever going to become a master basket weaver. It's not one of my strong points. But if I don't have a growth mindset, and I'm just like, oh, I'd like to have a go at that. Oh, but there's no workshops, and oh, maybe I could get a book, but oh, I wouldn't know which book to get, and see how I'm shutting myself down. I'm shutting myself down on possible experiences and where I want to be. Whereas if I go, okay, basket weaving, how'd you do that then? Don't know how to yet. What can I do? Rainy afternoon, I'm gonna jump on YouTube, see if there's a tutorial or two, just watch some people doing it. And I go, okay, no, that I reckon I could do that. What do I need? Okay, well, again, beauty of now. I remember when I first got a pyrography tool and had to travel ages to go to a craft shop that had them. Now you can just jump online and get them. Um, so it's relatively easy then to start something new up. So if I have a closed mindset, I won't even be at the point where I'm looking at buying the stuff to actually have a go. But have an open mindset. Well, I don't know how to do that yet. Well, I've watched some stuff. I feel I could give that a go. Now it might be that I give it a go and find that not only do I love doing it, but I have a natural knack for it. And something maybe I thought I wasn't going to be great at, but it'd be all right. I'm just doing it for me. Turns out I'm really good at. The next thing, somebody pops around the house and goes, "Oh, that basket's amazing. Where'd you get that?" "Well, I made it." "Oh, will you make me one?" I've spoken to people who literally have had that happen where they've been open enough to try something new. It was a bit of a hobby, and 2 years down the line, they're running a business that's giving them a nice income. The other has come to mind, thatch roofing. And go for it. If you fancy thatch roofing, they're crying out for roof thatchers. Just go for it. Look it up, learn how to do it. That's the thing. Have a growth mindset. It might be you never actually thatch a roof, but if something interests you, don't close yourself down for it. Everything you learn, everything you gain experience-wise helps you grow as a person. We often talk about our purpose in life, and I truly believe our purpose in life is to grow, to learn, and to become Everything becomes an acorn becomes more than it was. It becomes a seedling. A seedling becomes more than it was. It becomes a withy. And then that withy becomes a small tree. And that small tree becomes a young tree. And that young tree becomes eventually, with an oak at about 750 years old, it becomes a mature tree housing up to 500 different life forms. Can't think of the word I want. Life forms make it sound a bit UFO-y. Uh, but but everything grows. Everything grows. We can focus in on challenges, and we can see a challenge as something really difficult. Something is that another comment, or is that the same one? Yeah, there we go. That's the same one. Um, our challenges, you can be defeated by them. You just go, I'm never going to do that. And I know, talking about I meditate and people that are here and people who've been on this journey now, everybody I know that's been part of I meditate has had or has still the challenges, those things they're wanting, those things they're moving towards. But everyone has also stepped up to them. Every one of you has gone, I'm going to go there. I'm going to move through this. There is something on the other side, whatever that is. And yeah, sometimes we go and we grow, and then it's like autumn comes early and the leaves drop off and we're back down here again. But you're not back down here again. With a growth mindset, you can never, ever, a non-growth mindset, you can stay where you are. And I guess it can be comfortable. You kind of know what your life is, and there's nothing wrong with it. But a non-growth mindset keeps you here, which means, I don't know, let me pick something. I'll tell you what, I will pick that. If you have a non-growth mindset, you are a smoker, and you are a smoker, should I say. Then what's going to happen is you're just going to go, this is just me. It's who I am. I'm a smoker. And in 30 years' time, no matter how much you've been saying you want to stop, pretty sure you're still going to be here. It's just me. I'm a smoker. A growth mindset is I smoke and I want to stop. I'm not there yet, but I'm going to stop. And as can happen with people smoking, you make that choice. You go, right, I'm going to finish that packet, throw it away, and I'm not buying any more. And you do, and you've learned how to do that. You are now, you can never be this person again because this person here was a smoker. You're now somebody who stopped smoking. So you're never going to be just that person again. You have grown, you have experience, you have ways of doing things that you didn't have before because you've chose to grow, you've chose to move forward in life. And so you stop smoking. And this happens to a lot of people. They stop smoking, and they're doing great. And it could be 3, 4, 5, 6 years in ahead of time. They're not that person anymore because they're no longer a smoker. They're healthier. Their mind is working better for them. They're breathing a lot easier. Their skin is looking healthier. Their heart is thanking them a million times for it. And they're genuinely feeling good for it. And then something happens, something really stressful. And they're out and about, and someone offers them a cigarette without thinking about it, like, and then they start smoking again. But they're not this person because they've grown. They learned how to stop and they continued as a non-stove smoker for 5 or 6 years. Another analogy for that is, you know, in life, you can stay in the playground or you can move out of it. And by a closed mindset keeps us in the playground, keeps us with what's familiar and comfortable. Whereas an open growth mindset calls us to adventure. It calls us to dare to believe that we can become more than we are. There's one of my favorite phrases that I came across in all my training is, who is the person that you are not yet? Which is the ultimate question. Who is that person that I am not yet? Who is that person that I am becoming? Because when you start looking at life and its challenges and everything that way, you're looking at the world from a mind that wants to grow. You're saying things are possible. This might not be where I want to be right now, but it can change. It's just not there yet. And in a world where, other than ourselves and how we choose to react to situations, we actually have very little control. Very, very little control of what goes on around us. We have very little control of other people, circumstances, situations. You know, if I could sit here and control the amount of traffic running through town during our meditate sessions, not only would I feel wonderful about it because I wouldn't have cars going past and worrying that the microphone's going to pick them up during the middle of a quiet part of a meditation, but also I'd probably be some form of God because none of us have that control over what goes on in and around us. But I have learned, and especially in the early days of I Meditate, there are still, I think, recordings. If you go back to them, you'll hear things like a car alarm going off in the meditation, or um, a street. There used to be a bank. It's gone now, which is not good for the high street, but it's good for I Meditate because usually it went through a period of time where usually in the middle of something, its alarm would go off. And it's like, initially, I found that really frustrating. But it's not the alarm that's frustrating, it's how I'm thinking about the alarm that is causing that frustration. And a growth mindset helps us look at things differently. It helps us, rather than see that as a problem and butt our heads up against it and try and control what's out there, a growth mindset encourages us to find our own strengths, to find our own abilities, and to learn those things that we can learn that then lead us into a better place. I was having this conversation earlier on today with we have two, well, to have two vicars. We have a vicar and whatever the other job is. I was having a chat with one of them this morning and talking about that place we want to be, talking about how we move forward and how we view people. And I've always believed that each of us is enough. Curate, thank you, Sally. I'm yeah, that's the one. Um, Curate, and and it was like, I genuinely truly believe, and as much as the sun will come out tomorrow, which is about one of the few sureties we have in life. If you want to convince somebody when you say something, practice saying it in the same vein that you say tomorrow the sun is coming up. Because whether we can see it or not, we know that sun is coming up. And if you can say something with that level of conviction, people will believe you. Um, but I truly believe, as sure as the sun is coming up tomorrow, that we are all enough. We are all enough. Yeah, none of us is perfect. We all have our feebles. We all have the things that we do that do other people's heads in. Well, actually, it's their thoughts about what we're doing that are doing their heads in. It's not your fault. But we also do our own heads in. We have aspects of ourselves that we go, I wish that was different. I wish that I wasn't like that. I wish I didn't do this. But we are enough. And that doesn't mean we can't improve on that. Doesn't mean that enough can't be even more enough. But we are enough. And that growth mindset really does allow us to make the most of the fact we are enough. there's ways and techniques. I don't Never done. Actually, there you go. There's something we'll do in the future. We've never done it before. There's a way of learning stuff, more mindsets and ways of thinking, um, which there's a video actually on YouTube with an interview, a TV chat show thing where Paul McKenna's on it and he demonstrates it. And he demonstrates it in a kind of fun way. And if you've ever seen a hypnosis show, you'll get you'll get performances where someone will be like, in a moment, you're gonna wake up, your eyes be wide awake, you're gonna be feeling great, and you will. I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna go there. You'll believe you are Donald Trump. You'll believe you're Donald Trump. You'll move like him. You will talk like him. I've seen it done with Prince Charles. I've seen it done. I did a show once somewhere where was that? Some pub in the middle of nowhere where I had a lady believing she was the Queen and she was visiting the pub to see her subjects, and it was such a wonderful turnout. She was delighted, and she'd go around greeting them all as the Queen, and then and then at a certain point, didn't matter when, she'd just have an impulse and a desire, and in her best Cockney voice, she'd go, "Have a banana," and then go back to greeting people as the Queen. And for longer than I'd imagined leaving it going, because basically I couldn't stop laughing like everyone else, she would go around, so glad you came. So HRH, lovely, lovely, lovely to meet you. Thank you so much. Have a banana. It was chaos. I literally, it's one of the funniest moments I remember. It's ridiculously stupid. No one was upset by it. It was good fun. Um, and so that's entertaining. But you can use that very same principle where somebody steps into that mindset in hypnosis, where you go, imagine, so let's say you've just got into a new position, not necessarily a job, but a situation in life where you have to speak to people publicly. Biggest, biggest fear statistically, certainly in the UK and predominantly in the whole world, isn't dying. Statistically, the biggest fear in the world is public speaking. More people are worried about standing up in front of people and having to talk to them than they are dying. And so let's imagine that you're taking a growth mindset. So you're not going, I'm just not doing it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm never going to be able to do that, because that's not a growth mindset. You're going, okay, I don't know how to do that yet. What can I do? Well, one of the things you can do is with hypnosis is you'd have your session or sessions, and in that time, you'd explore it and go, okay, can you imagine, picture yourself being up there speaking? And for some people, they just can't. The fear of it is too much because they'd never imagined doing it, never want to do it, but maybe they're going to have to. And I mean, confidence just means you've practiced it. That's all it is. And that's something else you can do in your mind. Think about athletes who rehearse and rehearse and rehearse things in their mind. So do actors. So anyway, you're in your session, and one of the things that you can do, which is the same as the Queen having a banana and imagining you're Donald Trump, is if somebody really can't picture or imagine themselves being that confident to be able to stand up and comfortably deliver a speech or a talk or whatever it is, maybe I don't know, maybe it's a wedding and you've got a speech to do, something like that, is you can go, okay, who do you admire that really can stand there and deliver a speech, a talk? And maybe I can't remember the name of the actor, but the guy who plays the president in Independence Day, when he does "This is our Independence Day" speech on the thing, or maybe you've got a favorite presenter or somebody on the radio who you just love the way they talk, the way they deliver. Somebody that if you were to, if they were having to do what you did, they would just do it exquisitely. You'd be like, wow. Um, and so with hypnosis, what you can do is, okay, you've got that person, go into hypnosis. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to open your eyes. And you're going to believe 100% that you are that person. Trying to think who I'd pick. I'd pick Darren Brown. Not for the not for the magic stuff he does, which is amazing. Um, but he is the consummate showman. His use of language is exquisite. The way he presents himself when he delivers it is exquisite. I really so much. In fact, I could leave the magic stuff and just watch him talk about stuff. It would be fascinating. Um, and so that person in hypnosis will then come out and they'll be like, they will believe that they are that person. But then you can talk to their unconscious mind, and as you're being that person, I want you to learn everything that you need to learn from this experience that will allow you to be more like this, which is like the ultimate dress rehearsal, really. It's the ultimate rehearsal. And as you're being that person, what is it about standing confidently? What is it? Notice how you stand, how you sit, how you move, how you're talking, and allow yourself to learn everything you need to know to be able to stand up confidently at um, the best man speech and deliver that with wit and dexterity. And you take them through that experience. Sometimes once can be enough. Sometimes a few more times can make it solid. And that person's mind is then learning how to be more like that person. So by imagining you are that person, you're in hypnosis, you're learning how to take on those mannerisms, those characteristics, and to deliver what you have to do more confidently. Most performers I know, actors, they look like they're delivering what they're doing perfectly confidently. If you ask the reality of it, all sorts of, nerves and stage fright and stuff going on in the background. They've just practiced enough that they're confident that they can do it despite the nerves, which is different than, you know. But we can all learn. There's so many ways to learn, so many ways to learn, so many ways to grow. And in doing that, and even looking at our past challenges, our past difficulties, and learning and growing from those. And if we do that, if we embrace that growth mindset, you can achieve so much more than you expected. I was reading something the other day, and it was something I can't remember the exact wordage of it. There's 101 words going in my head at the moment. It's what happens when you read about 7 books at a time, isn't it? It's ridiculous. I told somebody today that, and they're like, "What?" Something along the lines that if you're asked to come and do this thing, it's because somebody has seen something inside you. I mean, you might not have seen it, but they've seen it. And they know then you can become more than you possibly ever believed possible. That was it. And I find that such a wonderful statement, which ties in with the whole growth mindset. Because if somebody goes, I'd really like you to do this thing because I believe you'd be good at it, you might not. And a growth mindset would turn that down and go, no, I can't do that. But if somebody's seen something in you and believes you can achieve something, believes you can get somewhere, chances they're probably right. And they are seeing something in you that will allow you to have your human experience at a even better level than you imagined. Wow. None of that is written down. Sorry, I didn't stick to the script at all. Uh, so let's finish today's session because that was a lot more than I thought I was going to say. Let's finish today's session with a guided meditational type thing just to bring all this together. So have a fidget. I'm just going to take a drink because have a fidget, get comfortable. And if you're joining in with this and you've never done this before, there may be bits when I ask you to picture stuff, imagine stuff, um, visualize, usually a word that puts people off straight away. But I'm not asking you to have a movie in your head. I'm basically asking you to think about it however you think about it. Um, just really think about it. Just really focus on the ideas. So, if I'm saying, imagine yourself walking along a beach, you might not see yourself walking along a beach, but you possibly probably know what that would be like or have an idea of what that would be like. So really just imagine, kind of think about how that would feel. That's what I'm asking you to do. You can do this. So let's take 3 deep breaths together. Now, I'm not going to ask you to necessarily close your eyes and relax on the first breath. I'm not necessarily going to ask you to close your eyes and relax on the second breath, but on the third breath, as you breathe out, just allow your eyes to close and relax just in the time that you need to take to let go, to relax and unwind. Take a deep breath in, hold it, and breathe out. Take a deep breath in, hold it, and breathe out. Take a deep breath in, hold it, and breathing out. Just returning to your natural breath. Gentle rise and fall, your own rhythm, your own tide. Tell yourself, I'm going to relax, to let go. Sounds round about me will not disturb me. Everyday thoughts will not distract me. They just help me relax. Even more than that. Now, and I want you to just relax your eyelids, the muscles in and around your eyes. I mean, let you into the secret. The moment you close them, they pretty well do it automatically. So there's nothing much to do, just relax. And in fact, just imagine relaxing your eyelids that much that a little bit like, when you go to sleep or you sit down and you've been laying on your arm a bit funny and you wake up or you move and you realize you've got like a numb arm, a dead arm. It's like you got to pick it up. It's that relaxed. It's like a rag doll. Imagine your eyelids. Quite an amusing thought. Your eyelids are just that relaxed that were you to try to open them, you'd find you could not. It would just be so good. It'd be so heavy, so wonderfully relaxed. If you were to try to, just the effort, just the thought of opening them would be too much. But when you're certain that your eyes are that relaxed that you cannot open them, when you are certain that your eyes are that relaxed you cannot open them, just very gently test them. Try to open them. And then relax them back down again as I take that relaxation over for you, guiding that up through the forehead, down through the cheeks, around the back of the head, down into the neck, through the shoulders, down the arms, the elbows, the wrists, the tips of the fingers, just letting go, softening all tensions. Through the upper back and chest, the lower back and stomach, down into the hips, down through the chair or wherever you're sitting or lying, just like you're melting down through that. And that continues down through the legs, through to the knees, the shins, the calves, the ankles, and all the ways to the tips of the toes. Just relax. It's good to relax. The more you relax, the better you feel. The better you feel, the more you can relax. As I begin to count down from 10 to 0, and I want you to imagine that 0 is like a doorway, an entranceway to an even more wonderful level of relaxation now. And as I count down from 10 to 0, you can imagine that doorway, that entranceway just slowly slowly easing its way, getting closer and closer. And I don't know whether you'll go deeply relaxed as we're counting down, or whether you'll wait until you step through that doorway in your mind and go deeper than this. But whenever you choose to relax now, I know you can get the most out of this. So that's 10, letting go, unwinding. 9, drifting down through time and space. 8, with every breath you take and every word I speak, it can start to become automatic. You do not have to think about this. Just relax. 8 to 7, letting go, softening any tensions. To 6, and I wonder just how much more you can relax now as you allow yourself to let go. Down to 5, and 5's that midway point, the point of balance and stillness. I wonder where within you feels most calm and most still. As you become aware of that, wherever that is, allow it to spin and flow within you, letting go and relaxing all the way down to 4. And 4, with every breath you take, every word that I speak, it's automatic. You do not have to think about it. Just relax. To 3. Letting go. Easily down to 1. Relaxed. And that entranceway, that doorway that's slowly be easing its way towards you is there now. And just notice as it gets closer and closer and closer, and you can step all the way through that now, deepening and intensifying that wonderful feeling of wonderful, still, calm relaxation, like a pool, like a pool, and from that pool, flowing water. When things sit still, when they don't move, they can stagnate, but like flowing water, when they move, they can support life, support growth. Just imagine being that water, leaving that lake, leaving that pool, and starting to flow. Starting to flow over rocks and pebbles, things that are in the way, sometimes too big to go over, so just taking that time to flow around them, to keep moving, sounding out the terrain as you flow further down. And at some point, maybe the land drops away beneath you and you fall cascading all the way down to continue that flow. Always finding the easiest way around things. Always flowing out. Continuing. And the path and the channel that you flow through widens. With every movement, with every flourish, bubbles rising, the ripples on the water, life growing along the shore and swimming and growing within. To flow and to grow. To keep moving. Just imagining those obstacles. It's that path that flows with water. You continue flowing down, it widens, and maybe there's places where there's a tree that's down in there, or branches and roots touching down, and the water just finds its way around. As you can overcome obstacles and challenges and focus on the flow and the growth in your life, bubbling and churning this way and that. And as the water flows, as it grows, becomes a wide river, meandering, through the landscape, having carved out a pathway through that landscape that was the easiest route for it to take, where there was least resistance. And by discovering that path of least resistance, you can grow and expand, continue moving onwards. And it reaches further along and it gets wider still, becomes the estuary. And again, finding that route that's the easiest to where the land ends, as it merges with the vast fullness of the ocean, reaching its full potential, flowing into its full strength and power as a mighty ocean. And you can embrace challenges and view them as opportunities for growth as you flow and move towards your full potential. And you can be confident in your ability to achieve your goals as you begin to find it easier now, like that water to find that easy route around those obstacles that in the past may have held you back. And you can continue to flow towards that vast ocean, even if you've not got there yet to that sea of potential. And any time you find yourself thinking about something you want to do, something you want to learn, something that expands your experience of life, you can just remember that you're flowing and you're moving and you just haven't got there yet. And I wonder, as you begin to discover moving forward, that growth mindset that allows you to achieve and allows you to embrace challenges and to learn, to grow and to become. Who is that person that you are not yet? What if you didn't flow? What if you didn't move? What if you never did that? Who is the person you are not yet? Overcoming challenges and obstacles, learning and growing from them, finding the easiest way to flow around. And you can try to have that closed mindset. You can try to be closed and have a non-growth mindset. But I want you to begin to discover that the more you try to not grow, learn, and embrace and enjoy life, the more you realize that it's not a choice. It's just part of who you are to become more than you thought you could be. Because there is a world and a universe out there that sees you and knows that you are enough. It knows that you are enough and it has seen you and it calls you to embrace life. To embrace life because it knows you can be more than you ever dreamed, more than you ever expected. And so, when you're ready to embrace challenges and view them as opportunities for growth, when you're ready to realize now that it's not that you can't do something, you're just not there yet, and maybe there's something you need to learn that gets you there, but that's okay because you can grow and move into that space. And when you're ready to feel confident in your ability to grow, to flow, to become, then as I start counting now from 1 to 10, you can return back to a normal everyday awareness. Feeling good, feeling relaxed and grounded, ready. So as tomorrow you can become a little bit more than you were today. And the day after that, you can become a little bit more than that. That's one, every cell, fiber, and muscle of the body coming back to everyday awareness. Number two, to be that person you can be, that person that you are not yet. Growing, flowing, embracing challenges, learning, and achieving. 4, all the way back. 5, take a nice deep breath in. Feel that oxygen just invigorating mind, body, and soul, feeling good. 6 to 7, just imagine, you stood on a hot summer's day under a fountain of cool, refreshing water, and it just cleanses the ears, the eyes, the nose, the passageways of mind, body, and soul, refreshed and revitalized. 7, 8, coming all the way back. 9, and when you're ready to step forward with a new, refreshed sense of growth, a sense of being able to achieve, then you can open your eyes on 10, have a fidget, have a stretch, feel good. Back here, back now.